Okay, let's find the equations of lines A and B. So I'm going to start by doing line A because that one's pretty simple there. Line A is just a vertical line. And if you recall, the vertical and the horizontal lines are the easiest for us to find the equations for. Because this vertical line is only crossing the x-axis at one point, it's crossing at x equals -2, then the whole equation is just x equals -2. If it were to be a horizontal line, such as something right here, and that means it's only crossing the y-axis at the spot +2, the equation of that line would be y equals a +2. But it's only crossing that x-axis, so we only have to say x equals -2. Now, for the slanted line, B, that's a little bit more complicated. This one has a downward slope, and it's a linear equation because it's still a straight line, but this line isn't just crossing one axis. It actually hits both axes. It's crossing the y-axis and the x-axis. So we're going to have a full equation here. And to figure out what that equation is, we can use the formula y equals mx plus b. And the y and the x are going to stay as a y and an x because when I plug numbers into this equation, I'll be able to solve for the other value. So say I had a point on the x-axis and I knew that x was equal to 2, I could plug that in here and solve for the y. But first, I'm going to have to figure out what that m and that b is. So m stands for the slope of the line, and b stands for the y-intercept, or where this line crosses the y-axis. So to figure out b, that one's pretty easy. I just have to look at my slant and look at where it's crossing the y-axis, which is right here at this point. It's crossing it at +1. So my y-intercept is just 1. So I know that the end of this equation is going to say +1. Let me just fill in the rest of the skeleton of this equation. And the slope I find by doing rise over run. So first I can look at this line and see that it is a downward slope, which means the slope is negative because it's going down. If it were going up, it would be a positive slope, but it's down, so it's negative. And I'm going to find a spot on the line, any point where this line is crossing right in the center or something. So like right here is a great spot to start. And first I'm going to rise, go up, and then I'm going to run and go across to another point. So these two spots are perfectly on the line, and I rose 2 units and I went over 2 units. So my rise is 2 and my run is 2. Rise over run, 2 over 2, which is just 1. So my slope is -1. And you can actually see here, if I picked 2 different spots, so maybe right here and right here, that is 1 unit up and 1 unit over. So that's a slope of 1 over 1, or just a slope of 1. And because it's that downward slope, it is a -1. So my full equation is y equals -1x plus 1. So that's my line B, and that's my line A, and I'm done.